Okay, so Dylan made it back to work finally.
Yeah, it's about time.
He's went to he started college, and a couple weeks off. I was on vacation, and so now we're back to it. We're gonna work on Saturdays, right?
Saturday and Monday.
Monday. You want to work on Mondays? Good. So we'll work Saturday and Mondays. Now we'll start getting some of these parts ready to put on that 69 Boss 302 project. So today, the first thing he's going to do is he's going to work on this hole. And it looks to me like the guy had a problem getting this bolt out, and he just blew a hole through the fender, I assume, and cut it off. That's the only explanation of why that hole would be there. So Dylan's going to get started on this. And you can start with a piece of sheet metal, and this might be a tad thin. You want to get something fairly close to the same thickness of this, and my guess is this is probably 20 gauge and this piece is 22, so we'll find a different piece for you. But
Okay.
so what I would start with is make this a little bit bigger than what you need, and then so make this a little bit bigger than what you need, cut it down a little bit, you know, probably somewhere in this area. And I'll just kind of mark this out. And then you want to get this contour in this piece here. Get it, you know, make it bigger than what you need so you can handle it.
Okay.
And roll this out so you got this contour and wraps up around here. And then once you get that formed, I would lay it down on my panel and cut it as small as you need it. I mean, just so you're getting that hole taken care of here.
Okay.
And I would probably cut it right on this seam or this spotting line, because that's a nice rigid part. That's where I would start my weld. But typically I would cut this panel a little bit bigger than what I need, or this patch, and then I would lay it on top there. I would cut this through, okay? Then I would tack it a couple spots here. Then I would go through and cut right on the edge of this with the...
Okay, so you want to cut both of these pieces? You want to cut the fender and the metal?
Yeah, yeah, or you can, you know, once you get this formed, you can cut this smaller. You can cut it about that size, right? Okay. And then once you lay it on there, it's really, your piece is now this size, say, okay, for example. Go ahead and cut that out, lay it on there, then cut this, you know, once it's fitting good, then cut straight through with the saw here. Just cut that and leave that piece in there. Just cut a line there. Lay that down, tack it both places. Then you can take your saw and go right along this edge, and if you tilt it just a little bit like this, tilt it in here and along that side, you can pop that out, that piece out.
Okay.
Then push it down, and you're just going to start tacking it slowly.
Okay.
You know, and I typically would tack it like here, then I would jump around on this a little bit and get everything so it's lined up as close as you can.
Okay, so it doesn't like heat and move around. Okay.
Yeah. Get it as close as you can. You want to keep these pieces of metal flush on top, because there's very little there to sand.
Okay. Does it cut all the way through, or is it just this top layer?
I would cut the top layer out, and then I would probably roll it over and just trim this little piece up here and make a little patch in there because it's nice and solid. Once you cut through here, you'll see how good it looks underneath there.
Okay.
You know, you want to get some weld through primer, spray it up, because there's two pieces of metal. There's a metal on the bottom and a metal on the top. You want to get in there and spray some of that. So once you get your panel cut, we'll talk about it again, okay? Once you get your panel kind of formed, I should say, then we'll talk about it. So you got a nice big piece that you can have a straight edge like right here. That's key, getting that nice and straight there. Form this. cut it, you know, kind of radius around here somewhere like that, and so it fits, lays right down flat on all this
Okay.
part here.
And then shape the smaller dimensions
Yeah,
later.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so Dylan's got the patch shaped and cut it out here, and he just got done MIG welding it in place. So next step, grind these welds off and see how it looks. Okay, so Dylan had we showed earlier where he had this welded, and then he just finished grinding the welds off here. Did a little sanding on this, which we've talked about before too. You want to try to prevent sanding too much on this and making it thin, but you can see this edge looks good here. You welded it. And these, really, your welds look pretty good here. This one here might be just a little bit slight low, but not bad. The only thing I see you have to do with this yet, if you look at it, there's a hump right here. And you can feel it with your finger. There's a hump, just a slight hump there.
Yeah.
And this shows it. If you get your angle, you see the difference there. It shows that hump in the center.
Yep.
And so I would take, it's not a big deal, I would take a hammer and a dolly and try to work this down just a little bit. Just get it down slightly. And so if anything, you see I can rock it. See how it rocks there? If anything, you want it down just slightly lower, eliminate that rock. Because if you don't, you know, we'll epoxy this, we'll skim coat it, and when you start blocking this with that's gonna burn through real quick.
You get like a little high spot.
Yeah, you'll burn right through quick, and you'll end up chasing that. You'll keep filling around here. Instead, you just knock that down a little bit, and this fender will be in really good shape. So, and sand her down. We're going to epoxy this whole thing one more time. We got a little bit, some areas that we didn't get quite clean enough, and there's some fish eyes in this, but we get that all sanded off, and that'll be good. There you go.